Hi, everyone. Welcome to your Thursday's favorite show. This is a recap of Survivor CNU. I am once again with my good friend, Trevor, who is the host of Survivor CNU. How are you, Trevor?
I'm doing well this evening, doing well. Great to be talking to you. Seemed like an interesting episode this time around, and we have a great guest upcoming soon, so excited to
Yeah,
get into it.
I am excited for our guest, but before that, you might see that it looks a little bit different tonight. And we're really sad. So it's not my story to share, but if you are a prayer or in your thoughts and stuff, just send some good love to Dustin. Him and his family are going through it right now. So we should hopefully see him later. And Dustin, we'll be fine without you, but we love you. We miss you, buddy. And we're sending good thoughts to you. Um, so now that the sad part's over, we're going to jump right into it. Episode 4. Wow, was not prepared for this. And it's not really a spoiler, but we do have a really fun guest tonight. I'm going to bring him on right now. Nick!
Hello.
Yay! And if you've been following along with the episode so far, Nick was my episode 1 pick of winning. He was my favorite character of episode 1, and that's saying something because I don't usually have a lot of favorites. And Nick was it. I did ask if you showered that night, though. Do you remember? Oh, that time ago, when you started the episode, did you shower?
I don't remember. My memory is so bad, but I do remember. Well, of course, I remember this. It was only like 2 days ago. But watching episode 1, I was like, I look good.
And I said, you look dirty.
You thought I looked dirty?
I was like, does he have a brush? Where?
I thought I looked really good.
Well, you look great right now.
Really?
Yeah, like you. Well, you look great right now. I don't know. Maybe that was the style back then, but I was like, man, you guys didn't have like a brush for him. He was looking rough.
And my hair was a little crazy, but I like crazy hair. I don't know. I thought I looked very youthful and I had a nice glow to me.
You were definitely youthful. Looked like you just got out of bed. And you're like, oh, shoot, let me go play this game real quick. I just woke up.
No.
So up to this point, we've seen a few things. Just a small recap. In the last episode, we had our first idol that was found. Yay, Hannah! Finding that idol. I am super proud of her. In addition, we also lost our third member, technically only the second person voted out, in John. He went out on a big old blindside out the door. I still think he's confused on how he left, even though we unpacked it last week. I think deep down he's still lost in the sauce.
Yeah, I think definitely.
Which is funny, getting to see, I don't know if you got to watch, but telling him who was a part of his vote, he went, really? You haven't talked about it since then? How don't you know? In addition, we're starting this episode. We are on day 17 of 72. Nick, up to this point, you have been a star of the show, and I am not just saying that. Tell us about it. What have you been doing up to this point?
Well, it's so funny you say that because being in the game and playing the game, I would not have at all thought I was a star of the show. So it's really up to like how it's edited, if they give you a lot of time kind of in the episode to talk. And I was pretty surprised every time my tribe has gone to tribal so far. I've had quite the talking part. I didn't know my footage would be used so much, but I'm very happy about it. But so far, I'm very interested to see what other people have been saying about me this whole time, ever since I was actually playing this game, almost 2 years ago now. The whole time I've been just wanting to know what people are saying in their confessionals about me, if there's anything about me. And it's mostly, it's all been positive, which I'm very surprised about. I'm the type of person that thinks like, I'm very self-conscious, like, oh, did that come out wrong? Like, did I say something wrong? But everybody seems to trust me. Everybody has a very positive impression of me. So I'm very happy about that, which we can get into how that might be changing soon, if you'd like to.
We'll wait for that one.
Okay.
But yes, I do. The teen is like, yes, girl, tell me. But we won't give it to everyone. I will say, I agree. Every time anyone talks about you, you are having a very good light. They want to work with you. They want to tell you what's going on. And truly, you could have stopped Sam from being the first vote. I'm a little upset with you that you didn't. We talked about it episode 1. There's not very many times when I go, and I did. When you made this promise to Sam that you would not vote her out, I gasped. And then you did it when I really think that you had the power to flip that vote and you were just a wimp. Like you just didn't want to, and you saw another outlet, and I don't necessarily think it was the best plan. I think Sam would have been very loyal to you. I think she knew she was in danger, and she would have worked with you hard. So I think that was like your first mistake. I don't know what's going to happen later, but I think that's like your first kind of big mistake where Sam would be here. And then we see it again with this next vote. I won't say his name, but you were very close with this individual. And then he quits. But I think even in that, you had the power to make it still. And it looked like the vote was going to be Addie. And you had that power until your buddy just kind of shot himself in the foot and took you as collateral damage with him. But you recovered. So how? How did you recover from that?
Right. So the question of how I recovered is just a really hard one because, like I said, you're seeing all these things people are saying about you when you're not there. So you really get to see what people think. And a lot of people are saying that they trust me, that they see themselves in alliance with me. And this sounds terrible, but at the time, I didn't really see myself in alliance with any of these people. I didn't have any. I felt personally that I didn't have any loyalties. Only because that wasn't really communicated to me. Pondo and we were working together at the start, and wait, are we not naming names?
No.
I personally just don't say. I have a thing with quitters. You are welcome to say the man's name.
That's too. I've seen an interview with Jeff Probst, and he is very against quitters. So that's a survivor value.
It's just there was people who wanted to be there. Sam wanted to be there. Mm-hmm. So but that's another day. So you're not seeing these relationships and it sounds like you feel kind of alone.
Yeah, at first I was feeling very alone, and I think I really misunderstood the relationships I had. I think I really should have analyzed how other people felt around me. I was really focusing on how I came across, what I was doing. And I wasn't really thinking about how other people might be feeling and how I might be making them feel, or really analyzing like the start, middle, and sometimes end of my relationship with people, which could say a lot. Because really, like my alliance with Sophie, that was very strong from the beginning, and we worked very closely together. We talked, Addie, that was a very strong relationship I had with him. I won't go into detail about that since you haven't really seen that much in the show yet. And especially Pondo, that was a strong relationship as well, but that was a decision that Pondo made on his own. So a lot of us were saying like, oh, we still have the chance to vote out Addie. We still could do that. But ultimately we said, Pondo doesn't want to play this game. He shouldn't be here if he doesn't want to. We can't make him stay. And, me, myself, I struggle with being a quitter sometimes too. I am a quitter with a lot of things. So I thought it would just be respectful to give Pondo that, to value what he thinks is best for himself. Even though I would have loved to obviously work further with him in the game. And I think it could have led to very strong power moves.
Yeah, I remember after the first episode, after the first vote happened, I remember thinking at the time, Pondo and Nick are in complete control of this tribe. It doesn't seem like anything's going to stop them. And then the whole Pondo thing happened, and I was like, well, Nick's in a lot of trouble. But it was really impressive to see you flex your social abilities. Dude, like you said, talking to Sophie, talking to Addie, talking to Kristen a lot too. I felt like at the time it went from you and Pondo to you and Kristen. because you and Kristen got very close as we saw, especially in this last episode.
I have lots of notes when it first starts because, I write them as it happens and I go, oh no, Nick, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't get caught in this. When someone is leaving you, because really he left you too. And he does, he has reasons of merit and integrity. And I get that. I understand that for him, and mental health is so important. So you have to do what's best for you. But in doing so, when you are in a game like this, he did hang you out to dry. And he could have took you with him, really, depending on how he executes his departure and the things that are said, that impacts you. If he's going, all right, Nick, I love you, go win the game, bro. All these other things kind of go down the wayfold for you, and it's this new thing. So I think you handled it almost as perfectly as you could. I don't know if it could have got any better for you at this point. In fact, I actually think him being voted out of the game helps you. Obviously, I don't know everything. I don't get to see, but I think that he would have been collateral damage for you. I think people saw that you two were close. And at the end of the day, Pondo wasn't trying and you are. So why would they keep you over him? So I think it actually helps you that he leaves this game and you just flourish after. So good for you.
I agree. Thank you. A lot of people were in talks. I remember this, and this wasn't shown in the episodes, but a lot of people were like, wow, Pondo's very outspoken. He's very out there. And for me, I try to play a very neutral game when it comes to making relationships with other people. So Pondo would kind of like counter my strategies, I feel like. Even though we did have a good relationship and a good friendship, and, we still keep in touch around campus and everything. I think strategic wise, it would not have gone too well. I was going to talk about something else, but I have put myself in situations before where I kind of, by quitting, in any sort of circumstance, I kind of bring down someone else's plans they have, desires. This is outside the game of Survivor, of course. And, it really is a shame. And, you always wonder, like, could it have been different if I stuck around, if I stayed in this relationship, if I did this or that? And the fact of the matter is that there's no use thinking like that. It is what it is. This is the reality we're living in. No sense pondering other dimensions, multiverses. I don't know.
Pondoing.
We're not doing that one. Not with that name. Pick any name. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, you're not wrong, though. You're very much... It's always the what ifs, that perception, and you hit on it earlier, and it's perfect. What you think is going on in the game when you are in these games, what other people think, and what's actually happening are never the same. Perception is one of the hardest things to overcome. You can't overcome someone's perception, and that includes yourself. You can't overcome your own perception. And so it's interesting to hear you say, hey, no, I don't think that I was in a power play, which I'll ask you some questions later, and I guess that helps understand on why you do what you do this episode. And so we'll get into that in a little bit, but we'll do a little recap. For those who are just tuning in, there's on the bottom here, follow on Facebook at facebook.com/live-reality-games. You can also follow us on YouTube. There are new episodes of Survivor CNU every Tuesday. Yep. They're great. We're not too far in. You can watch now. Spoiler alert, I just binge watched season 1. So there's even another season that you can watch to then come up in here and get all caught up. So there's footage for you to watch. Join it. It's a well put together game. It's very fun. And the character development is on point. They get you wanting more. So, no problem. Into episode 4. We start this episode with a doozy. It was teased a little bit in episode 3, where Trevor makes a comment about the game gets shaken up. And Nick, what happens?
So what happens is all of Peptali Bismali sticks together, and we have a few new special guests. Colin Ray, Henry Womble, and one other person. Abby. Yes, a very important person for the sake of the episode. And pretty much the same thing happens on the other side of the coin. I don't really know because I wasn't on that tribe, but a similar situation where it's one tribe sticking together and then the remains of that other tribe falling in.
Right.
Yeah, so Hannah, Maggie, Colin, Bunn, Gabe, they're all original Blue Crew, stick together. They go to Peptali Bismolly, and then they are added on with Leah, Lily, and Shaggy. So we get, in episode 4, a tribe swap. Now, at first, I was very upset with Trevor. I thought, Final 14, you are swapping into Tribes of 3 again. I was so mad. I was just watching this episode with my daughter. I paused it and I was like, Olivia, do the math. What's 3 divided by 4? And she was like, I don't know. I'm like, how are they doing this? What's and then you got it. 2 tribes of 7. I was so relieved. I wish that it wasn't Piptali Bismolly, the tribe that got to stay. I don't know who named that thing, but was it you?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, the tongue twister I had. So here on the screen you will see this is the
New Peptali.
New Peptali Bismolly in this lovely blue background here. Where we have Maggie and Gabe, who we're gonna get to learn about later, I hope, fingers crossed. We have Hannah, who has the title in her pocket. The Benedict Arnold here of Colin Bunn. Lily, the icon of this season, Shaggy and Leah. These 3 all come from the same tribe, and these 4 are all from an original tribe. And then we switch. Oh, it's not going to let me do it. All right. I'll do it manually.
I'll also say real quick, the reason why Blue Crew was the one that got kicked out was because I didn't have enough buffs. Where the place I got it from, they only had enough to get like pink and white. I didn't have enough blue to get another one, so I was like, I mean, okay, I guess I'm stuck with blue. Blue Crew lost 0 challenges and was the one that was disintegrated. So I thought that was funny.
That is funny. Maybe that's why you had to let everyone have a fresh start.
Right, exactly.
And then the new mystery gang, where we have Henry, who is our student president, who, boy, Henry, do I have some questions for you. I can't wait to get to talk to you. Colin Ray, who we learned last week is in a not so secret, but kind of secret romance with Hannah. Abby, Sophie, I know her name, Kristen, and then we have Addie, and then our guest here today of Nick. These 4 are switching together here with Peptali Bismolly. And then these 3 are kind of coming from different places, with this one little lonely Henry coming from Blue Crew. He's never seen Tribal. He's not had a talking game, and boy, is that shown this episode. Let me tell you. The other part that we get to see here, and it's shown very well, Abby makes a kind of a large error here when she is selected to go on to Mystery Gang. She outwardly cheers, gets excited, and hugs her friend Sophie. And we have a guest here who did not notice that.
I definitely noticed it, and I noticed the very first episode when we were all meeting each other and everything that Abby and Sophie were quite close. So I did recognize that Abby was coming on to the original Peptali Bismolly team, and her and Sophie already knew each other. They weren't really not ashamed, but they weren't really hiding the fact that they knew each other or were close, which was concerning to me.
The other part that you get to see, and we got to see a lot last episode, there is a secret alliance with Colin Ray and Abby. And so this little duo here that I love, I didn't know I needed it. I wanted it in my life. I got it for a while. But they are there to stick together, and you really look like, and I don't even know if your group seen that at the time, it really looked like they were going to have this group of 3 that were going to be able to figure it out. And I kind of thought you were going to be in on it too, Nick. I thought that relationship that you had with Sophie, what was it that made you go, no, something's off here?
So, like I said, you don't really realize how much other people value your relationship with them until you're looking at from it on the outside. So I didn't really realize how much Sophie had trusted me. And if I did know how much she did, I would have wanted to play the game more with her, or I would have not made the moves that I did make in this episode, because I like to count this as my first mistake in the season.
Oh, but it's your second. But that's okay. It's your second, but that's
Are
all
you
right.
talking about not taking a shower or the name?
Oh, no, okay, that's your fourth.
Yeah. So this is one of my bigger mistakes of the season so far. So I really underestimated my alliance and relationship with Sophie. And that is why I made the move I did. And I was really bringing up other relationships with people that really weren't there. And I don't know why I did that. And I can talk more about that if you don't have anything to say, Destiny.
No, well, let's talk about the comp first before we jump ahead to what ends up happening. So this comp, it's actually a comp that I've played in the live reality game. So when I saw it, it was a little bit different. When I saw it, I was like, I'm screwed. I would be going home. This is not my challenge. But it was very interesting to see how it was played. So what ends up happening is one member from each tribe comes up to a table. There is a random assortment of objects that are put into a pattern. They have a sheet that is held up. It's dropped. They have to memorize it, run up in this classroom, lay the items out, and then tag in to lock in their time. The kind of twist to it, or the difference to it, is once one player says stop or done or runs off, the sheet goes up. So the other player also cannot look at it, which we got to see a lot of people do different strategies. And using that, like Henry,
some strategies didn't work.
Whose strategy was to look at the table for 0.2 seconds, yell stop, run, and then get lucky. Here's the spoiler alert for this one if you haven't seen the episode. Henry does score both of his points. It might not have been fast, but it works eventually.
He was on, and also in fairness to Leah, that he was playing. Leah had a concussion, as found out after the challenge. So she also had struggles with the challenge. Henry was doing a strategy of just trying to guess as well as he can after barely seeing the objects at all. So it was there were a lot of rounds, as you saw in that montage of Leah wrong.
It was hard to watch because I think Leah came off of a really great episode last week. And to see her just off and just to see her not on her A game, it broke my heart. This is mean, this is very mean, but her confessional about, I knew I had a concussion, but I didn't know what a concussion felt like. I was like, girl, you did not know. You did not know you had a concussion. You were like, man, I hope something's wrong because that comp sucks. If not, but you did not know. And I think if you did, you probably would have handled it before kind of coming into a challenge here and it impacting. I think she cared too much of the game to put her tribe at risk knowing she was injured, but that's okay. We did get to see it. A lot of individuals going head to head. A lot of kind of playful banter, which was really nice to see. Tribes were mixed up. So a couple people had to go against their old tribe mates. A couple people had to go against people that they probably were friends with and working, and we haven't got to see it yet. So it's a very fun competition that took what looked like in editing forever. How long was that comp?
In real time, it was at least an hour to do it because it not only took a while, like from what you saw, we had to reset everything and make sure the blanket was up, and then once someone got it right, I had to go back and put things in random order and write it down and make sure that I had the right answer and everything. So it did take quite a while. Plus, before we had to swap, we had to do all of that too. So it was at least an hour, like probably and in total, like at least an hour and a half entire ordeal.
Now, when you are doing these challenges, and we've kind of talked about scheduling conflicts, and a lot of these players are very busy. Are you giving them a timeline like, hey, we're meeting, your competition is at this time? Do you tell them we think it's going to take 2 hours, or do you give them nothing?
I do generally tell them, especially like once we get to the merge, I will basically like say we're doing an endurance challenge. But other than that, I don't. I like if I think it's gonna take a while, then I'll say something. But usually it's like it'll be over when it's over. Like the mixer. I think I said like this might take a while because it's a lot to explain. and a lot to actually do and everything. But for this challenge, I don't think I said it was going to take a while.
Did that go into your strategy, Nick? Did you ever go like, oh, we know this is a longer comp, so let's prepare for what we think this might be. Hey guys, eat before you come. Hey, do this. Was that something you talked about?
It absolutely was. Everybody wants to know how long it takes. Should we wear something athletic?
Yeah, that was
also a big point. Whenever Trevor said wear something athletic, I was like, oh God. I was not about it. So yeah, that was definitely something. It's more so just like, this is what you have to be ready for. So a lot of people are just prepping in general for like the athletic challenges, or maybe a shorter one cause more confusion. But yes, a lot of people do take that into account.
Trevor, if you ever host in the future, I would give them a list of stuff they may need, like day 0. And if you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't. Like, you may at some point need tennis shoes and a swimsuit. I hope you brought it with you today.
I will just tell them things. Yeah, I'll tell them things they don't even need. You're gonna need a telegram.
Flashlight.
You're gonna need a megaphone. You're gonna need just random objects just to see if they actually get it.
A book on Morse code. You're gonna need to know that. I can just see someone like practicing clicks. Like, that's funny. Good for you. That's good to know that you like told them, hey, bring tennis shoes today. The player who definitely wore their tennis shoes, and if you get to watch it, or if you don't watch the episode and you just need to see something cool, it's about 20-ish minutes in, and you get to watch Addie jump over a dang table.
Yes.
And it was epic. I'm sorry, but now there hasn't been a lot of like really cool things happening in these challenges. Like, the challenges are cool and they're different and they're fun to watch, but there's nothing that's been like, yeah. Addie clearing a table is one of those things where I was like, oh, you're a moron. Why did you show these people that you can do that? But also, how cool was that? And the whole room stopped. Somebody actually asked him, is that allowed? I think that's cheating, because they knew that what it was so cool and he just got a point that they needed him disqualified. I don't remember who said it, but it was very, very cool to see.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, everyone saw my face after it happened. My first thought was, I was so scared he was gonna hit his rib on the thing. That was my biggest concern. I was like, did he hurt himself? And I saw him walking and laughing. I was like, okay, I guess he's okay. And like, I was definitely like, it didn't even cross my mind that I wouldn't count it, because it absolutely counted. And I knew, and I saw him. I knew he was at least kind of close. And I was like, oh, if he gets this right, it's going to be a really good moment. He did, so.
You had me scared, and now that I know that it was a face of concern, like you were concerned, you're like, oh shoot, my club's going to get shut down. We just broke something in here. This man has to go to the hospital. That makes more sense, because when you were like, I was like, is he going through his head like what the rules were? Did I say? Like, that's what I thought you were processing, but really you were like, that's cool. It was a thing of concern, and then a thing of like, whoa, that's going to make the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Can you guys do more of that? Because we haven't had a lot. These challenges have been Henry walking around confused, and that's not really... No offense, Henry. We got that for like 15 minutes, so...
Yeah, that blindfold challenge was a disaster, especially compared to this one. This challenge was a lot of fun.
It was fun. What did you think about it, Nick?
I am so bad at anything memory related. So I was very scared about this, but I got a point.
You beat Hannah, who I thought was going to smoke you. I'm sorry, but I was like, oh, Nick, honey, just go sit down. And then Hannah, like, took her sweet time. I was like, what is going on right now?
Right. Watching this over again, I didn't remember, like, did I get this point? Did I not get this? And then I saw I was up against Hannah. I'm like, oh, no, I didn't get this one. And then I got it. I was like, really? Trevor has to be messing with, like, these edits or something. But I was very scared about this challenge. So I'm surprised I got a point. But the blindfold challenge, I want to talk about that one, too. It was like Black Friday. Watching myself, I looked insane, like smacking the tables. I don't know what my strategy was. I was just kind of going for it. But I was definitely causing some of the pure chaos that was happening. Addy proved to all of us that he's the coolest person in this club, like usual. Yeah.
I think we all knew from kind of meeting Addie day one, he was going to be the coolest person in the club. He's the only one who looks like he could probably carry somebody off the field if they got injured. And I think it also helps that he seems like a really genuine person. Like he's not been mean or malicious or like any of that. So like that gives him more points too. I definitely am a fan of Addie, not so much strategy wise, but just I want to see what he can do. But I think he's a comp threat, so why is he not? I don't know.
His name was brought up
multiple times. There's been a couple times that I thought Addie was about to go home. And so that's always interesting. I look forward to seeing what he can do. I did think that Addie needed a swap. I said that last round. I think that if Addie could swap, this would be beneficial for him. Did I know he was going to swap with his whole original tribe? No, that doesn't usually happen. But so, and the part that I thought was also really interesting in my notes here is he is excited to swap with his whole tribe. Like he cheers for it. And I know part of it was kind of like the joke that was happening, like, it kind of went back to back. All Blue Crew went over to Pepto Bismolly. All Pepto Bismolly was kind of going to this new mystery gang. And so when he goes up, I think he's the last one for them to go and to pick a color. And so maybe it was just kind of playing into like the cheering that you guys, like the humor of what was happening. But when he cheered, I was like, boy, they just tried to vote you. Why are you excited? Did he know? Does he know at this point that he was going to be the vote?
I don't think he did. Addie is so kind-hearted. He is such a sweetheart. Could not hurt a fly. He didn't know at all. And the truth of the matter is, and so far this isn't something I've seen in my confessionals, so I don't think I've ever mentioned it, but I never wanted Addie to go. I don't want to see him go. And like you always say, like, oh, I really don't want to write that person's name down. And then they do. I truly did not want to write Addie's name down. And at this point in the game, I want to protect him. And that's one of my flaws I have when playing the game is I want to protect people, even though it's not necessarily beneficial for my game. But other people were gunning for Addie. They really were. And I guess this was off camera or cut off in the edits. But I was always the one, I felt like I was always the one directing the attention off of Addie or kind of like diverting. Cause I didn't want to see that cowboy go.
Oh, I like that. We're going to call him Cowboy for the rest of this episode and future episodes here, Cowboy Addie. I have struggled with this my entire org community career. I think you can be a really blunt person. I think that, at least me, I'm a very blunt person. I kind of say what I mean what I say. But there comes a point where there is not $1 million at the end of this. Like, there's not. These are your friends. You've developed these friendships with them. And you have to really come to terms with it as a human. Am I going to play a game that I love and I signed up to play and that's what I signed up for? Or am I going to put that to the side, play the game, but I'm also going to keep my moral integrity? And I would rather be friends with Cowboy Addie, know that he will carry me off this football field when I fall down the stairs one night, than vote him out. And I'll just be wrong and I'll be on the wrong side of the vote. But I know that I stuck to my moral ground and I didn't do it. And I think it's very interesting that you're kind of talking about it because we did not get that with John last round. John was like, I don't care what happened. I just wanted it not to be me. And you're really showing how you do get close to people in these games. The part that you don't get to see in these 40-minute edits are all the time you spend together and all of the conversations. I know you guys are video chatting. I know you're talking to him pretty much all day, every day. It takes over a part of your life. So to see that you are protecting Addie makes me fall in love with you just a little bit more as a player because I like that you kind of stick to your guns. Now, you've made some promises. I won't throw Sam in here again. So I hope that you stick to one of them here because we haven't seen you stick to one yet. No, but I think I have hope for you that you'll come through with one pretty soon.
Let me clear the air. That I've always, even from the second I said it, I've felt terrible, torn myself apart over the Sam thing. And I hate it because she was also such a sweetheart. And I know we would have been really close friends if she stayed in the game longer than that. But the fact of the matter was, we were passing each other by on campus. Literally, we didn't even stop to talk. We were just kept walking. And she said, "Oh, I'm so scared. I'm going to go home." What does one say to that? And I was like, "Oh, you won't." And I was
No,
like, well,
you say, girl, I'm so sorry. I think the vote is you. I'm sorry. I don't have any say in it. Maybe talk to some people. Now, don't you move your ass and put that vote on me. But you might want to figure out somebody other than me and other than you. That's what you do. It's vote
yeah.
one.
I know.
I think you could have also been like, yeah, I'm also scared too. You know, like I've been trying to talk to people. Like, just don't like directly answer who you're voting for. Just be generally scared with her. I feel, especially since you're just passing her and everything. That probably would have been the best move, not to take a side. But I mean,
no,
it's
first tribal, it's so scary. I'm with you. Something,
exactly.
But no, you come in and you're like, I promised her. And I was like, this MFer, he did not.
It's all, yeah. And in fairness to you, Nick, it's also like the second, third, maybe it's probably third week of school of college for you as freshman year. So I can't really knock on you for not hitting a home run when you haven't even gone out of rookie league. So
right, and it was one of those things where it's like just nothing else came to mind. Like, of course, I would have said the things you guys are saying, but that just it slipped out. Yeah.
Well, perception is reality. I'm not sitting there. I just get to watch you and judge you. So, speaking of judging, we have a lovely comment here who's saying, you guys and folks are rocking it tonight. That's lovely, Dustin. So he is watching, and Dustin, we are with you, and we're still thinking about you. So we're sending you lots of love. We sent it early, but if you missed it, we miss you, buddy, and we'll see you hopefully next week. And Nick is rocking it. Not only is he rocking this podcast, but he is rocking it in the game. But what we learned about this challenge is it might not have been Peptali Bismali that was the bad luck. In fact, it might just be Nick because he once again is on the losing tribe. And it gets tied up and it kind of looks like that it's going to go one way. Henry comes up with this really dumb plan. And then they go into this tiebreaker, and it's Shaggy versus Kristen, who Kristen has been hard to read for me, which is rare. I kind of thought that she was in Sophie's pocket earlier in this podcast when we started the season, and I'm starting to think that that is not the case. And in fact, that I think Kristen's a little more sneaky than she gives herself credit for. I showed her face a couple weeks ago where she had that sneaky grin when she got away with Sam going home. And I think she put that blame on a lot of other people. And we're going to get to see it again here. So your tribe loses. And instantly, there is a conversation with pretty much your entire tribe. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember who was all in that convo?
Everybody but Henry and Addie.
What are they doing? What are they doing?
They must not have seen Real Survivor, but what I always notice in Real Survivor is that if you are not with everybody else, they are talking about you.
They are talking about you. And I'm going to tell you, live reality fans that are watching, I'm going to give you a little hint. Get a buddy, separate, and don't let anybody talk about anybody because you're both in both groups. You're not together. You're separate, and you just divide. Like, no. Don't let people have a conversation without you. Don't be the first one to leave a party. Don't be the first one to fall asleep at a party. You better walk up to those conversations. So once again, we get to see Henry, who I don't know what the hell he's doing. This president of your campus is supposed to be a very likable guy. He should be very charismatic. He should be having these conversations, and he's just gone. What is he doing? Is it an election year? What is he doing?
He rode away on his little bike, and he came back for some reason. I think there was a little bit of that shown in the episode. he circles back on his bike, and you hear him. He's like, "Oh, are you guys taking a selfie?" When we were actually recording ourselves strategizing against him. And I don't know why we didn't just play it off, be like, "Yeah, we are, hop in." But we were just, no, we were talking about the challenge. And I don't even think he even thought about it that much. Poor Henry. But I really can't wait for all of you to see Henry develop more as a character. You get to learn a lot more about him. He's a very controversial one.
Oh, well, I look forward to seeing that because Henry, right now, I am not impressed. He does talk about having and watch Survivor a little bit. He knows enough of the episodes, but he's also like a politician. Like, you're not stupid. You know that you have to talk to people. And Addie makes a comment this episode that he says, and I don't want to quote it wrong here. I had a bunch of people texting me one-on-one, but I don't respond to any of them. I'll do it after Tribal. Instead, I want it to be fair. I'm going to fight for team bonding because it helped Blue Crew. Boy, you're not on Blue Crew anymore. You're on Mystery Gang. Like, sit down. And I'm going to vote for the person who I feels like, I didn't write it, feels like probably dead weight or feels like they didn't do enough or whatever his statement is. Are you kidding me? It's 7-6 right now in reality, even though it's not. It's 4-1. But how in the right mind does this man, who has not been in any conversations, thinks that he has the social capita to not respond to anyone, and you guys let him get away with it?
Yeah,
What?
we shouldn't have. This episode is one of those moments where if I could go back and change things, I 100% would. Henry, his game is so, at this point, is so convoluted. Nobody could have known that was his strategy just because it's so far-fetched. But at the time, we did notice, why isn't he responding? Maybe he's just busy with student government things.
You should have been going in your mind, oh my gosh, he's not responding to me because he's responding to other people. Something.
To me, when I was like interviewing Henry and talking to him and getting to know him a little better in the early parts of even before the season started and early parts of the season, Henry's not a big fan of Survivor. And I don't even think he's seen like Total Drama Island. It was either like you either know Survivor, you've seen Total Drama Island, or you don't know anything. I think he hadn't seen like any of those. So to me, it kind of makes, from a Survivor standpoint, it doesn't make any sense what he's been doing. But from, I know he was in the president's leadership program. I know he was part of that. And he's the student body president, so he has to be in everyone's ear and everything. I think to me it makes sense that he's viewing Survivor from a not Survivor perspective, and he's seeing it. This is a team game, and there shouldn't be any strategizing. He doesn't want to lie, doesn't like lying, and
he's in student government. Literally, his job is to lie. Like, I don't buy it. He might be saying those words. He might be feeding you. I call it the bullshit. He might be feeding you the bullshit. You might be eating it up. There's no way that man is like, I don't lie. I don't want to lie. He's in politics for a reason. He might think that he's doing the greater good for the universe, but they're not. No offense if you're a political whatever. We see it every day. He knows better. Mm-hmm. But I guess we'll see later. It sounds like we're gonna get some more insight. If you haven't watched the episode, unfortunately, Henry, the man who talks back to nobody, who has a so low vote on one of the players in the cast, gets to stay. And in fact, Nick does what I have now, I guess, determined to be his fifth mistake of the game. And he makes a decision to go against somebody who was really working with him hardcore. And what it looked like is he has this core group here. You can cut me off whenever if I have it wrong. But this group of 4, Peptali Bismali, is coming together. Addie's on the bottom of it. Sophie and Kristen have made it very clear that they are going to vote with each other. They've done it every round. They kind of check in with one another. Sophie and Abby make a mistake of showing that they're together, and Nick rather than going, oh my gosh, an ally of my ally is my ally, and I'm going to work with Abby, and now I have this group of 5, or really 4, because they're all talking about voting out my good old cowboy buddy here. I'm going to use that to my advantage going into a merge. No. I want Sophie to myself. I'm a selfish man. So I'm going to get her friend voted out, and I'm not going to tell her I'm going to do it. And you, without Henry, I don't know. You don't need Henry's vote in it.
He would tell him, and Henry wouldn't text back. He could ignore it.
That's so annoying. And at no point you were like, he has to be talking to somebody. That never.
It did, but I wasn't particularly concerned about that because I was thinking, he's a fish out of water here. He obviously doesn't have the numbers on this tribe. If he did, I respect him because that would be just such a great move. But I decided to go against Sophie and Abby. Like I said, I didn't really realize I had these alliances until now, looking back. Sophie was, at that point to me, very intimidating. Her and Kristen were very intimidating to me. I thought they were conspiring against me. I didn't think I could trust them. I thought they were doing their own little thing, and they would just relay to me what I should do at Tribal, and hopefully it wasn't me that was going home. But it turns out I actually had very solid relationships with them, and they were very genuine with me. And I didn't think that going after Abby would have any effect on that. But I really should have looked down the line because the ripple effect,
So it does sound like this is going to come to bite you in the butt. And so spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the episode yet, Abby does end up getting voted out. She gets voted out on a vote that is a 2-1-4 or a 4-2-1, depending on how you want to look at it. Sophie gets 1 vote from what we later see is from Henry. And he's like proud of his vote. Like he's like, I voted for this girl who's trying to be a leader, but she ain't doing ish, which is true. Sophie is being very vocal. She's being very, very upfront, but I think she's being very honest with people. And it is, I talked a lot about Sophie, episode 1. Her body language is very off-putting. And I've told Trevor a lot of times I actually see a lot of myself in Sophie. So now it's making me think, I'm like, oh my goodness, is that what my face looks like when I'm sitting there? And I think I'm being funny, but really we look mean AF. So I can get the intimidating factor of it. What stinks is you are so wrong in this judgment. It's not Sophie and Kristen that have this power. It's you. It's you and Kristen, really. And Sophie is playing into it. And the person who, in my humble opinion, that you should be worried about is not Sophie and Abby, but it's Kristen. And it's what Kristen's going to do because, girl, I love you, but you sneaky and you get in a way with it. And it's that soft demeanor. But if you keep watching, I want you to watch these clips when there's a vote out, and I want you to see this smirk that Kristen does. And it's not something you're ever going to pick up on Tribal because you're in the urge and the stress of Tribal, but she knows what she's doing, and she's getting away with it. And really, at this point, Shaggy said it last episode, I got John in my pocket. I think Kristen has you in her pocket right now, and she's going to use it to her advantage because you just shot yourself in the foot. And if what I think I know about Sophie and just kind of my reflection here, I think Sophie is going to be pissed. And she's not going to work with you because you just lost her trust, and she's not going to forgive and forget. You don't have to tell me. These are my predictions here on this live reality games recap. I don't have any proof of it. I just am predicting what I think is going to happen. And Henry's going to get to the end as this goat, and he's going to fool you all, and I'm going to laugh. I'm going to call you back and be like, Nick, really?
Is that what you see in the crystal ball?
No, I really think that Henry eventually is going to get caught up in not participating. I think he's going to go farther than he should with that political slippery slope here. This is going to be the first episode that I actually switched to thinking that a female is going to be the winner. Up until this point, I have thought a man wins this season. Actually, for a long time, I had you as my winner pick. I thought you were going to figure it out. But you've made a lot of mistakes. And I think this one is going to be the shotgun blast that gives you a bruise on your shoulder. And I don't know if you're going to be able to overcome this, especially with the tribe dynamic that we have here. I'm going to show it one more time now so we can see it. So this is the new Mystery Gang tribe, and we are going to lose Abby. I should have did a fun little PowerPoint and crossed her out or something, but I'm not that fancy. Henry, the man who talks to nobody and everyone all at the same time. Colin Ray, who also just shot his friend in the foot. If Abby and Sophie are as close as we think, I would hope that Abby would have told Sophie that she was working with Colin. I don't know if you can confirm or deny at this point, Trevor, if Sophie is aware.
Not to my knowledge exactly. I don't because I think it was like an extremely secret alliance. Like, I don't think that conversation ever happened. Like I never heard anything after Abby went. I never heard anything about those two working together previously.
That would make sense on why John was so confused last round.
Right.
And so I think that Sophie right here is going to be very upset with her friend Kristen, probably even more upset with you because she's going to expect it from Kristen and not expect it from you. And that's going to leave her having to try to figure out how she's going to work with Addie, who she's not said a single nice thing about. Colin Ray or Henry, the man who won't text her back. And unfortunately for Sophie, she is a very intimidating individual, and it is not going to be the men who want to work with her. It is going to be the women who want to work with her because women tend to not be afraid of other women. They want to compete with it. So I'm not afraid of you because I'm better than you. At least that's my professional opinion of not being a professional person. I just give my what I have seen. Men are often more afraid of strong women and targeted for that than women are. Women would rather hide behind it and keep them there as a shield, and it's a smart play. So I don't think that Sophie is going to find a way out of this. I think she's going to approach it completely wrong. I think she's going to be very defensive, especially considering she just had her name written down where she was blindsided. And you guys probably should have had the most trust going into it because there were 4 of you against 3. You're the only people in the game who've had to have been playing the game since day 1. Going to that first tribal council, and you have voted together every single tribal until now. So that is the recap for episode 4. Nick shoots himself in the foot without having an actual gun. It's really just a pen and a piece of paper. I think at this point in time, you think this was the right move. Again, perception is 2020. It's like, it sucks. You can't get over your perception of it. You've already said, looking back, this is the round you would change. Do you figure out a way to overcome it? I mean, you don't have to say like, yeah, I'm the winner. Ha ha ha. Nice to meet you. Do you come up with a way where at least something is salvaged?
Not quite. I made a decision in this episode where I've completely severed my relationship with other people. I made an action with no thoughts of the consequences. And I feel like something that wasn't as shown in the episode is that the entirety of the plan to vote out Abby was made at Tribal Council, sitting there.
Yeah.
Before Abby and Sophie got to Tribal Council, I whispered to Kristen, Addie, and one other person, Colin Ray. I was like, let's do it. They're a package. You see how close they are. That's a threat. And I was like, get them out. Without even thinking, there's a threat there, but that doesn't necessarily mean you should get it out. Sometimes you want to be working with the threats so you can get like on their level and everything. So that was my slip up, really. I didn't really, like I said, I devalued my relationship with the people I should have. And then for some reason, I brought people I really had no relationship with up on a pedestal.
Yeah, so I'm really glad you brought that up, Nick, because I wanted to say something. So what happened, Nick kind of alluded to it. Everyone is at Tribal Council except we're waiting on Henry. So I say, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom. There's a building right here. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Sophie goes, I don't think Abby's not there. It's Sophie. It's Abby and Henry are the other ones not there. Sophie is talking with one of the crew members because she's friends with them. I'm going to the bathroom. I check. I walk. I'm walking back. I check my phone, and our videographer says, "Hey, they're talking." I'm like, "What do you mean they're talking?" She's like, "They're talking. They're flipping the vote right now." I was like, "What do you mean they're flipping the vote right now? Is someone filming it?" She was like, "I don't know. I don't want to film them because like they're doing it so that Sophie can't see that they're flipping the vote." Luckily, I think Nick, was it you that filmed it, or it was either you or okay, good. I was like, "Oh, thank God, Nick filmed it." So he flipped. So like we were like, I'm walking back from two-star tribal council, and the vote flipped.
So right you do say at Tribal, you're like, I was blindsided on this one too, and I was like, how the fuck is Trevor blindsided? He's the host. But that makes a lot more sense because I was like, Trevor, you were just trying to make good TV. Like you are not blindsided. You know everything. That's some footage. Send it to me. I want to see this to see it play out.
Okay, I can send it to you.
I will say that it does happen often in a live reality game where you see something, you're like, why are they filming? Like what are they talking about that they're filming? And you walk out on people. So you almost have to get in the habit of filming every conversation, even if you never do anything with it. So people don't think you're like, oh no, girl just always is filming. She's like conceited or whatever you have to do. Or you film none of it and don't care, but production's probably pissed.
Yeah.
So it just comes into a factor with good for your crew person to be like, no, I'm not filming it because it'll give something to Sophie. But also shame on Sophie. She has to know that this game is not played just in the confines of these club meetings. It's constant. And if you are going to allow 5 of your tribe members to sit there and figure out a vote while you walk away because you want to go be friends with somebody on production, that's on you, girl. I guess you guys can tell me or not tell me. Does Sophie figure a way out of it? Does she come on top, or am I going to be talking to her next week?
We're gonna have to see. She's in a tough spot. That's in the next time on. Is that she feels the entire tribe's against her. We'll have to see how she can try to climb her way out of it. Whether either she goes against people, she works with people that she might not think so, or she stays the status quo. We'll have to see.
All right, don't give me the tea here. You do foreshadow a little bit, and so before we cut this off and show the next one here, I do want to bring up one more point, and we're actually going to switch. We're not going to talk a mystery game. We're going to talk about Peptali Bismali with my blue background because I hate Peptali Bismali. I literally hate their tribe, but I love the people. I just don't want the name. We do get some foreshadowing on what is going to happen if this lovely tribe does in fact go to Tribal, where we have Shaggy, Lily, and Leah, who worked very close together last round, and they have formed kind of this core alliance here with my good friend Benedict Arnold, also known as Colin Bunn, the man who thinks he is hated by everybody, but nobody actually cares about what he's doing. And he is not going to stick with his 4-person alliance. And once again, we have a same effect. The 4 that could stick together is greedy and selfish and, dare I say, stupid, and not doing the easy numbers into a pre-merge. And they're going to work together. And Colin has made a comment that Hannah, fearless leader Hannah, the woman with an idol, is in fact a scheming lady, and he has called her out. And now Hannah, who is trying to work with Leah is on edge. And so we get to see a little bit of that play out. It's the story that I am excited to see. I want to see it. I have a love for Hannah. I have a love for Leah. We all know Lily is a favorite. She is so good on camera. If she is not here in the game long term, I do not know what this show will be, because Lily, the camera, loves you. I think you know that you are in the camera. I think how she acted when she wins immunity for her tribe, and her theatrics of falling to the ground and hugging this tribal immunity idol like she wouldn't have been safe had she not won it. I think it was a little extra. Me, as the Sophie type player, would vote her out for it because I'm like, girl, you fake AF. Like, no, you did not need to do all that. But that's, I think, coming up in this next story. If this tribe, Peptali Bismali, once again sees tribal council, it's been one whole round for them that they have not seen it. So I think that this would be kind of interesting to see how it plays out. Trevor, you give us a point next season. We do not see the pink bus and I'm a little colorblind, so I was kind of confused. They looked green?
They are, they're not wearing the pink buffs. Like I said, a tribe makes a bold decision on the future of their tribe and how they're represented. So I have to see what happens before the challenge.
All right, well, we'll see while this pink turns to green, or green is the new pink, maybe even. We'll see how that is here, and then some tribal lines get crossed, which I think has been foreshadowing for weeks. I am so ready for it. I can't wait to see what happens. We're gonna get to see it on Tuesday. The next episode 5, is released. Trevor, can you give us any more ideas of what we're gonna see? Give us something. What else are we gonna see?
I'm thinking this might be the most chaotic challenge I've ever done. It was, Nick can agree with me. This challenge was absolute chaos. It was chaos to be a part of, chaos to film. Yeah, you have to see it to believe it. There's so much happening, so much talking, so much strategizing. Yeah. You gotta see it. There you go. I was like, Nick, I was like, I know Nick knows this challenge.
The wheels were turning. I vaguely remember this one now, and it's an interesting one. I think a lot of people are going to be entertained watching this one, and it's going to force everybody outside of their comfort zone.
I cannot wait. We end on a clip outside of seeing these new green buffs that were apparently free to Survivor CNU's budget. Yay, saving money. We get to see, I want to say it's Addie, pointing like frantically. So something's going on. Somebody's talking to somebody. Somebody is saying something, and we're getting to see it, and I cannot wait. Once again, these episodes are released on Tuesday evening. I think it's at like 7 or 8. 7. So 7 p.m. Come watch them every Tuesday. There have been 4 episodes. They're great episodes. You won't put them down. They're not hard to watch. If you haven't started watching them, please, 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 for the sake of yourself, because you are doing yourself a disservice for not watching this, log in onto YouTube, join the Facebook page, talk to us on here. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear who your favorite are. Your YouTube comments are like on point. You have some crazy fans who are writing all of their thoughts the whole way through. Let's get them on here. We want to hear what you have to say. Tell us who your favorites are. As my tradition goes, I have a new favorite almost every week, I think. Unfortunately, for this week, it is not Nick, although I loved getting to talk to you, and I hope that you come back on later and talk to us again, because it was fantastic. I love getting your insight. But this week, my pick on here, my favorite, actually goes up to Kristen. We don't get to see a lot of her, but if you're paying attention, girl is sneaky, 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 and she opened up that cargo pocket and just tucked Nick in. And I think she's going to come off scot-free, and Nick's going to get the backlash of turning on Sophie. But I guess we will see it next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Nick, thank you once again. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Please come again. I hope you had a little bit of fun.
I did. Thank you so much for having me, Destiny. It was fun.
Awesome. Trevor, I will see you next week.
Of course,
and we'll be here next Thursday. Usually it's at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We might push it back a little bit because I got a hair appointment, but we'll push that out if we got it. Bye, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Bye. Thank you.